myself, Nancy Vang and Nada Musipur, who will be joining us and supporting us throughout the event, and they will be sharing a little bit more. And yes, we are hoping to record this meeting as we will only have one major info session like this for this year for the CREE Learning Series. And we're hoping that we're able to share out some of the different components of it in the future through this recording. Um, Excellent. So, as we begin, we are going to start with just an overview of expanding the bench and who is here, as well as what you can expect as part of this session. We want to talk a little bit more about the intended audience, want to make sure that this is the right fit for you, talk a little bit more about how to register, some costs and fees that are associated with the series, and then some time at the end for some question and answers. Again, welcome everyone who is here. We are humbled that you are here with us today, recognizing the world is in a weird space. Once again, for those who are new, and we are excited to be able to talk about different ways of learning with you all, and excited that you are interested in joining and being a part of the series. So to start off, I'd like to talk a little bit more about expanding the bench. And so expanding the bench is an initiative that is led by Change Matrix. And the main focus of our work is to support diverse evaluators and funders of evaluation to value, practice, and promote culturally relevant equitable evaluation and an ecosystem that really focuses on people, practice, and field. Originally, the Expanding the Bench initiative was hosted by the Annie E. Casey Foundation, and it's been about 7 or 8 years since Change Matrix has taken over and stewarding the Expanding the Bench initiative. Next slide, please. And so, part of the CREE Learning Series, actually, sorry, before I go into this, I just wanted to mention that as part of Expanding the Bench, we have a couple of different programmatic elements, one of them being the Advancing Culturally Responsive and Equitable Evaluation Network, otherwise known as ACE. And that is designed for folks who have more than 7 years of experience in culturally responsive and equitable evaluation. And then we also have LEAD, which stands for Leaders in Equitable Evaluation and Diversity. And for those programmatic elements, it is for folks who are earlier on in their career, and we actually just finished a round of application with a cohort that we're in the final process of selecting and the curriculum beginning later this fall. And so there is a lot of different moving pieces that happen with expanding the bench, including what is field building, which includes the series, this series. And so now you can go to the next slide, please. And so from the definition of culturally responsive and equitable evaluation, which is an evaluation approach that requires the integration of diversity, inclusion, and equity in all phases of evaluation, CREE incorporates cultural, structural, and contextual factors like historical, social, economic, racial, ethnic, and gender, using a participatory process that shifts power individuals most impacted. And so, as part of this work, when Change Matrix first took on expanding the bench, there was a lot of conversations with culturally responsive evaluation and then EEI, the work of Geraldine Coffey of Equitable Evaluation Initiative. And so many different folks were working and talking within both of these main thinking spaces. And what we found is that there needed to be a space, and by we, I meant the community that came, so the ACE Network community, as well as some of the lead scholars that had already started with Annie E. Casey, came together and decided that it would be good to have a shared approach, a shared language we could come together for that really named and mixed both theories and ideas of culturally responsive evaluation and equitable evaluation and combined it in a way of saying, like, this is what it means to support and engage with community in different ways that really serves the communities involved. And so, as part of the CREE Learning Series, this is an introduction. We see this series as an opportunity to learn more about the development of CREE and the work that is happening, but then also go into the principles and theory of culturally responsive and equitable evaluation. And then it shifts into what does this actually means to application of bringing it to life in your own work, and then how you can bring and talk about this with other individuals who are interested about culture responsive and equitable evaluation. Next slide. So what you can expect to learn, as mentioned earlier, we have different modules and it's an asynchronous process with some live sessions that you can attend to talk with different learning guides that develop the series. And Nancy will go a little bit deeper into that in just a moment. But as you're navigating the modules through Teachable platform, we hope that you all will be able to define CREE principles and frameworks, understand how and why culture influences evaluation work and the larger evaluation ecosystem, identify ways and explain how a CREE approach supports equitable outcomes within different spaces, and become familiar with the main differences between CREE evaluation and non-CREE evaluation. That's especially useful for some funders who engage with us in this series as you're really looking to understand what is the difference and what does that mean for their work. And then these final three demonstrate the components of a shared approach for CREE, recognize opportunities and challenges related to the application of CREE, and be positioned to advocate for CREE internally and externally in the larger evaluation ecosystem. Are those more of implementation stages that I had shared previously, where we go into talking about some real world examples, including some discussion boards that will be focused on navigating the current political and federal landscape through CREE and what does that mean for those who are in attendance. Next slide. And so, Nancy, is this your slide?
Yeah, I'm happy to take it on, Angel. Thank you everyone for being here. Um, and so I'll talk a little bit more about the format for this year and what you can expect. So as Angel mentioned, the CREE Learning Series is all asynchronous online, and we are using the Teachable platform in hosting the video content as well as discussion boards for this year. And so if you're familiar with Teachable, this should be a pretty a familiar platform. And if you're not, I will also share that it's very intuitive. And as a part of our series too, in our introduction section with learners, we do offer a little tutorial and overview of how to walk through the content in the Teachable platform. So being that it is asynchronous, it is also self-paced. There is no specific deadline that learners will have to meet in order to participate in the series. We want to be flexible and be accommodative of different learners and different schedules and different learning styles. And so it is self-paced. And upon registration, you do have access to the teachable content for 1 year from your registration date. Um, as a part of the Teachable platform too, and in supporting learners throughout the series, we also provide a workbook as well as discussion boards and discussion board activities to foster deeper learning, to provide spaces for conversation with fellow learners and the learning guides in the discussion boards to also support your learning throughout the series. As a part of the series itself, too, we do host live discussion events throughout the calendar year. I'll be sharing a little bit of that schedule after this, but we also provide that as ways for you to engage with your learners and your peers through our virtual Zoom meetings. And you also have an opportunity to learn and share challenges or bring in challenges or questions with the learning guides who will also be in participation for one of the virtual event series, which is the CRESES with the learning guides. All right. So, as a part of the series, as I mentioned, we have the live discussion events, and we do have a schedule set for this year. As a part of the live discussions, we have two types of live discussions that we offer for learners. So, we have the introduction section, and we will be only hosting one this year on July 16th. And it is only for learners if you have already registered for the CREE Learning Series and are just getting started. And so the introduction session will provide that overview of how to navigate Teachable, how to navigate the content, as well as diving deeper into the expectations of being a learner of the CREE Learning Series. And then our second series of the events are our CRESES with the Learning Guides. You'll see on the schedule that we have 3 different dates and times for this event. And for learners, the expectation is that after you complete the video content in Teachable, that you attend at least one of these CRESES sessions with the learning guides. And we have dates in August, October, and December, and encourage learners to make it to at least one. We also welcome learners to attend all of them as well if that's a helpful way for you to not only share your learnings, but dive more deeply with the content and CREE principles with the learning guides and learners. And so that is the set schedule for this year for what folks can expect for the live discussion events. And I'll also just take a pause, just if we didn't mention this earlier, in case we have any folks joining, because I cannot see the chat. Feel free to also drop in any questions. We'll also have time for additional questions throughout the session and later in the session as well. So some commitments and general expectations of what folks can expect regarding your commitment to the CREE Learning Series. We expect folks, in addition to all of the video content that you'll access in Teachable, that you attend at least 2 live discussion events. That includes the introduction session, as well as one of the CREE Sets of the Learning Guide events. And then we expect folks to also participate in the CREE Learning Series discussion boards as ways to also share your learnings, dive more deeply in it with fellow learners and the learning guides, all through the Teachable platform. And then, of course, throughout the series, providing your feedback with us. We continue to offer the CREE Learning Series for the evaluation field and as a foundation for folks building their CREE practice. And so we welcome and also would love to hear your feedback as you continue your CREE journey with us. And then what folks can expect in terms of time commitment for the CREE Learning Series is expecting about 1 to 2 hours for each section or 10 to 20 hours total to complete the series. That also includes time and
It's like just an ad for like
oh, oh, sorry. I don't know if someone came off mic, but I provided this range for learners because I do know that folks have different schedules or learning styles. And so we just wanted to provide at least a rough estimate of what you can expect depending on your learning style for the series. And then the intended audience. So we've been mentioning a lot that the CREE Learning Series that we are offering is really designed for curious beginner to intermediate learners. It's really about building a foundation into the CREE practice and principles and theories. And so if you are much more further or advanced in your CREE practice or have been doing this for a long time, I don't know that this would be I don't know if this would be necessarily just for you, but we welcome folks to build their foundations in CREE with the CREE Learning Series. If you are an evaluator, and we know that the evaluator term or even role is also very defined broadly, but if you're an evaluator who, is really just starting your CREE journey or want to learn more about CREE, we think that you can definitely benefit from this. I know we've also been in lots of conversations about what evaluators look like, whether you're a part of the traditional pathway or an accidental evaluator or working in an evaluation capacity. I think this is also a really great opportunity for you to build that CREE foundation. We've also talked a lot about funders of evaluation too, whether you are based in a nonprofit foundation or a family or private or corporate, but you're working in learning and evaluation spaces. This could also be a really great benefit for you to build your CREE foundation. And then for any also evaluators or folks working in independent to large or various sized evaluation or consulting firms, you can also benefit from this. And then also nonprofits or community-based organizations, as well as students. If you are currently in evaluation programs or interested in evaluation, the CREE Learning Series could also be very beneficial for you too. All right, and then I will pass it off to Nada, who will also talk a little bit more about how to register as well as the cost and fees of participating this year.
Yeah, thanks so much, Nancy. So as we mentioned, the CREE Learning Series is hosted on the Teachable platform, and registration is available for individuals through the Teachable site itself. I can pop the link in the chat right now. And we have rolling registration open now until October 1st, 2025, later this year. And this grants you 1 year of access to the content and materials. In terms of the costs and fees of the series, we have a free enrollment tier as well as a general enrollment tier. We have a nice visual on this next slide. So if you can move us, thank you so much. To break this down a little bit, if you are a student or an ACE Evaluation Network member, a lead program alumni, scholar, or mentor, or an existing ETB pricing model subscriber, the CREE Learning Series is available to you free of cost. And under the general enrollment tier, we have a price breakdown of $200 for independent evaluators who are individual evaluators who are not sponsored by any organizations. And then we move along to $300 for small to medium evaluation firms, which would be an individual who is a part of an evaluation firm consisting of roughly 2 to 25 staff members. And then finally, $600 for individuals who are a part of an evaluation firm of 26 plus staff members, as well as funders of evaluation. And just a quick note, the proceeds made through the CREE Learning Series support our programmatic efforts and really enable us to continue offering opportunities and other programming elements as well to Indigenous, racially, and ethnically diverse evaluators. If you are in need of financial assistance and you are an evaluator from an independently owned or small to medium evaluation firm, or consider yourself a learning and evaluation practitioner. So this might include emerging evaluators, accidental evaluators, non-traditional evaluators, or capacity builders supporting CREE. We do have a limited number of scholarships available to you. They're offered based on a first come, first served basis, based on availability. And we do encourage you to apply via a link that we can pop into the chat. But you can also apply directly on the Teachable link that I already put in the chat, which is the registration link as well. And next slide, please. Great. I'll pass it back to my teammates.
Yeah. Thanks, Nada. And so now we're happy to provide space for any questions from folks through our info session or anything that we need to clarify or go back to on our slides and session. We're happy to also do so too. And feel free to either drop it in the chat or come off mute.
Oh, and Nancy, we can stop recording now at
Oh,
this.